All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Real Stocks. Looking today at the markets, gapping down a little bit here, looking at potentially potentially a bad day. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, ready for the drop. What's up, Brandon, Eli? Yeah, I'm getting ready for the drop. Huh. Nice, Eli. Absolutely getting ready to drop the panties on the market. On the market. So if that was our last high attempt, that's not a very good sign. Similarly, mirroring this again, we have a pop, a drop, a bounce, and then another lower low potentially here in the Qs. It may be the beginning of the bear. We'll have to see. I was reading some information over the weekend. Well, listening, I guess, to some information over the weekend. With some not very good news in terms of technicals in the market. Not really even technicals. I guess just money flows, things of that nature. About. Sorry, I'm trying to talk to you guys and have my thoughts on this at the same time. I didn't have a chance to look into it yesterday. Welcome to having kids. Investors are piling loads into banks that have avoided since the crash. Basically talking about the fact that we haven't seen as much buying, and this is like the second highest volume selling, things of that nature. Just trying to look at some of that. So bear with me here. There was some positive movement in Chinese stocks. Well, that's good. There's a possibility of reversal today, obviously, but I'm not counting any chickens at this stage of the game. And already making new lows here on the Qs, kind of drifting a little bit lower. You see the NQ right here, which is the futures, down about 0.5%. So we'll have to see how we react. Usually when you have a doom and gloom feeling, it goes the other way, but this one feels a little bit different from a normal doom and gloom market, since we've already been pretty doomy and pretty gloomy, and all that stuff's come true so far, and it doesn't seem like there's too much bullishness on the horizon in terms of news. But like I said, over here we can turn around any time. These markets, especially the indexes, tend to do that. But especially when you look at the leading stocks, so far they don't appear to be turning around on a dime. They appear to be at least in a trend. Amazon, you still have a series of lower highs, even though it's looking better than Apple, which doesn't even have that. Apple's still in a very aggressive downtrend. We have some aggressive buying days, but those aren't necessarily met with that much follow through. So you can see here in Apple, not really very aggressive to the upside at all. Microsoft has been holding up the best, and on Friday it had a pretty big distribution day right there. Very elevated volume. Yeah, Microsoft's above the 200. Apple's well below. Amazon, you said, is sitting on the 200. Wasn't really looking at moving averages. I've got it well below the 200. I'm using a simple moving average, though, so that could be why we failed two tests on Amazon of the 200-day. And actually, that's a pretty good shorting signal in many circles right there. So Apple, Yeah, we'll see if come on. Okay. Hold on here a second, guys. There's a radio show. I don't know if you guys have heard it or not. Money Matters by Ken Marafe. Interesting radio show. I don't really tune into it that often, but I happened to catch it while going to Home Depot, and he's a money manager with a buy, hold, and sell strategy, which is pretty similar to my views on the market. And he actually issued a sell recommendation. I'm not exactly sure how often he does that. I know it's not very often. But excuse me here, guys. But anyway, he's the one who was talking about all that Bloomberg information. I thought it was some pretty good technical stuff in terms of the markets. So, talks about the death cross, which is fine. Talks about the inverted yield curve. I'm listening to it right now. Pulled up the podcast. Yeah, this is... Hold on a second. Leveraged loans ETF. All right, hold on. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've seen he says we've seen the fewest percentage of dollars buying on dips. That's a little concerning to me. And where'd it go? Okay, so SLRN. Bear with me here, guys. What is this? That's solar? That's not what I'm looking for. What happened? SLRN. Oh, BKLN. Huh. February, November. Damn. Apple just won't keep my podcast playing. Stupid. Um. Anyway, so yeah, trying to find some, trying to do some more information than I usually look for. You know, if you see me for crypto, I don't look at too much information because in crypto, none of it matters. In the stock market, it can matter dramatically if you don't have a full picture of what's going on. I do believe that the two biggest factors, as many people do, are China and the Fed. Now, we have a Fed meeting coming up. I think it's tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And if they don't raise rates, the market will rally probably pretty hard. At least for a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. If they say they're going to continue raising rates, then we're probably going to drop pretty hard. So I don't think we're going to get a neutral reaction. If we get a neutral reaction on rates not being raised, that's bad. then it means that our news-driven market is less news-driven, and the direction's pretty clear, in my opinion. Yeah, nothing else matters, really. Crypto? You mean crypto there, Sanct? Yeah, crypto had a nice little rally this morning, but dedicate some time to these stocks here. We're kind of in a weird position. So let's look real quick at the definition of a recession. So I believe the definition of a recession is it's where economic activity is reduced. And, okay, it looks like it's where GDP is reduced in 2 consecutive quarters. And we may be getting into that just due to the fact that we've had such a elevated economy lately, and that may not be such a good thing, apparently, due to recessionary tendencies. Yeah, people are always fearsome, Eli. That's kind of part of the thing here. Is people are constantly fearsome, especially in the stock market. They get fearsome quick, is what happens. They get fearsome really, really quick. Bloomberg. There we go. Here's a funny headline. Trump's tax cuts made a difference in 2018, just not the ones backers were hoping for. The tagline is the economic stimulus has dissipated pretty quickly, but the deficits will endure. And that could be what's affecting the job market and the stock market. So if you have a very quick jump in growth, which is what we had, you can argue that that was basically directly related from the Tax Cuts and Job Act. I won't get into that. Like the immediate repercussions of that. But I think that that's fully been baked into the economy. So there's nothing left to push us forward in terms of economic growth. We have potentially a slowing global economy. We've seen some slowing in China, which is probably partly due to the tariffs, which will slowly meander around the world. Listening to some research in a while, or over the past weekend there. Hold on a second. So here it goes. So early results were impressive on the tax cuts. Growth, which had been averaged 2.2% a year, spiked to 4.2%, and then 3.5% in the third. So that's actually 1 quarter of decreasing economic data. And now I think we're looking for a second quarter of decreasing, which may be the impetus for a little recession. Now, I don't think it's going to be a recession that's going to tank our economy, but probably could be bad for us investors. And then going forward, I don't know if they necessarily see a tremendous amount of impetus for further growth. If all we get is a one pump, like you think of it as a very heavy caffeinated latte, kind of as a one shot thing, and then we end up rolling over in terms of GDP numbers. Oh, that scared me. I heard noises, didn't know what it was. Wife was walking in the room. I had my headphones on from listening to that podcast. Consumer spending. Consumer spending jumped because most households got tax cuts. They've been spending some of the money no longer being withheld from their paychecks. So this is a much longer conversation, I think, than I can do diligently right now, especially while I'm just, chilling on a live stream here. But I definitely think there's some work here to be done in terms of the general environment. The tax cuts, a good amount of money stayed in the pockets of people and corporations. The problem is corporations are soaking up more and more of the money and not necessarily spending most of it, from what it looks like. Reading a lot of buybacks and things of that nature, which don't necessarily help the general economy. They may help the stock market boom, but that doesn't necessarily help the general economy, which doesn't necessarily help the rest of the stocks that aren't able to do as many buybacks as others. Okay, so here we go. So it looks like the data compiled by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis shows that $295 billion was repatriated in the first quarter of 2018. So that essentially means that the tax cuts are affecting the economy, and that was a $295 billion repatriation of those cuts into the economy. $295 billion that dropped to $170 billion in the second quarter. It is on track to fall below $100 billion in the third quarter, not far above the $40 billion post-crisis quarterly average, Morgan Stanley economists said in early December. So that tax cut boost isn't necessarily making the correlation. They were saying a $4 trillion windfall. Trump predicted a $4 trillion windfall, and then the data is not supporting anywhere near that. So we're essentially just robbing Peter to pay Paul here, from what it looks like. Which is to be expected for most huge tax cuts. If you know a decent amount about economics, won't get into that either. There's some theory on both sides, and neither looks like they're willing to give ground at this stage in the game. Business investment did jump in the first quarter of 2018, presumably in response to the tax cuts, but then quickly sagged towards its normal range. For it to raise the economy's growth rate over a longer term, it would have to climb to a much higher level and stay there, which is not happening. So again, the shot of espresso, and maybe we're just wearing that off right now. So our 2018, we were a little bit lower, not much. Any news on that Deutsche Bank money laundering thing? I'm too lazy to Google. I haven't seen anything on that, Lori. So, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. So let me go to see what the EIBD has to say about the secondary indicators in the market. Now they have the uptrend under pressure. Whoops. Trying to remember where my So that was a good one to read, is The New America. This one is about Twilio. So Twilio. Should advisors offer tax prep services? Interesting. All right, B1. Let's see what's leading. We got Beat, which is never heard of that one before in my life. Beat, Trade Desk, Twitter number 3 on the IBD 50. That's interesting. Team Cyber. There's still a lot of tech companies up there, which is good on the IBD 50. That's not what I'm looking for, though. There we go. So there's the big picture. Bears rough up bulls. Attention turns to Fed. Here's your secondary indicators. Bulls versus bears. Down about 45, it looks like. Investment advisors bearish down here at 30. So there's still plenty of bullish sentiment to drop the market lower. We've been bullish for a long time. Seems pretty normal there. The short interest ratio. Low is 3.48, high is 5.6, current 4.1. So we're towards the low range of that, but we still could drop quite a bit there. What else do we have? Psychological market indicators. Here we go. No, go back. You're killing me. I'll stay like that. Okay. So volatility over 45 is bullish. Current's only 21, so we're not yet to bullish territory on the volatility index. Price ratio of price premiums and puts versus calls. 5-year history. High is 2.1. Low is 0.31. 12-month high is 2.1. We're at 1.55, so still could drop a little bit in terms of that. mutual fund share repurchase redemptions were pretty much right at lows in terms of redemptions. So no one's really scared that much in terms of mutual funds. They're just kind of they're riding it out. No one's really concerned yet. New issues in last year's percentage of all stocks in the NYSE. 8.7 and 5 years 11 were at 7.8. So zero, low of zero. So that's not, I don't think that's super pertinent to us right now. Book to value of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, of definitely a fundamental indicator. We're at 24.96. High is about 30. Low is 3. So we're still elevated with a little bit of room to grow if we wanted to. Price to earnings ratio of Dow Jones Industrial Averages. This is book value, and this is PE ratio. So PE ratio here, definitely in the middle. We're not high or low. Pretty median in that terms. Current percentage dividend yield of the Dow Jones. High is 2.93. I don't know if that is necessarily that good. I haven't really looked at these too much. Advanced decline. Stocks advanced on. Stocks declined on. So these are probably two of the biggest ones. And we're pretty neutral in terms of the bulls versus bears, so definitely still room to drop here. You can see the bullish advisors have gone down. The bearish advisors haven't really risen that much yet. So, yeah, mixed picture there on some of the secondary and psychological indicators that at least that IBD gives. It looks like the market's opening. So let's see what happens here. Let's see what's on my list. I don't have much in green. Solo's in green, so that means we're in a bull market. What else? Apple's a little bit in green. I don't view that as positive right now necessarily. What else? INS 0, Tesla slightly negative. INSG, VMW, Lilly 0.64. NetEase, Twitter down 1.37. Ahmed and Goose down 2. So yeah, we're not doing too bad. We're only down 1 to 2, a few in the 3%. Nothing too crazy though. Not yet. We'll see what happens here as this market finally fully opens. Oh, you guys went away. Where'd you go? There you are. They loaned $250 billion through Estonia. DataDash made a video about it. Look at Money GPS as well. Has a few vids on Deutsche. Not super concerned about Deutsche Bank. Sup, Christina? So it looks like we're on pace to take out these recent lows from the open. Looks like we just did that. No problem. And it looks like we're headed lower. Now we're seeing a few more in the threes. Goose down 3. Twitter down 1.4. Tesla jumped a little lower. It was barely. So we have this little mini trend line here, which we're quickly coming up to. This is the rising trend line between the prior low of the low of the Nasdaq and our higher low. We'll see if this trend line holds. It'd be bullish if that trend line held, but I'm not super confident that's going to hold. So Amazon down 2.2. Actually, I don't have them up here. So Amazon down 2.2. That's not encouraging. Definitely gapping down a little bit right there. Drew this channel line. It's been in this channel for a little bit. Still within the channel. We'll see if that remains within the channel. Let's look at Apple and Microsoft. So Apple's actually up 0.8%, so a little bit of a reprieve in the indexes. Looks like we're bouncing right now off that trend line. We'll see what happens there. Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. Looks like Microsoft is down 1%. And then BRK/A down 0.4%. And so far bouncing back a little bit. Decent elevated volume. Gotta be weary of the games they play in the mornings. I was like, Goose has popped back up a little bit, 2.8 down. It was down about 0.5% more. Looks like Carvana, NIO, Package, and Boot took its place. MMNFF down here. Makes me wonder what's going on with Cron and Tilray. Cron up 0.62. Tilray. I didn't type that symbol in right. Down 1.4. MJ, the ETF, basically flat. And the market, that's your rally for the day, guys. That may have been your rally for the day. We'll have to see. We came all the way back up. I'm sure if I take this down to 1 minute chart, because I hate myself. Yep, there's your rally. Those two bars right there. So you see the selling on that candle. Slightly elevated volume in the 1 minute. We'll see how that works itself out. Let me definitely back far out of here. So we'll see how the day progresses. Actually, my daily here. Daily here looks like we've already. Oh, that's the Qs. That's why it's different on the Qs, but we've already broken that downtrend. Eli's buying everything. Oh, my trend line is not in the right place. There's my trend line. So there's a trend line on the futures market. There's a trend line on the Qs, and definitely looking like we want to break through most of it. $4.57 down now. Goose is rallying a little bit. What's in the green? A little more green on my screen, but probably nothing to write home about. Solo B, CNTZA, Cron FF. Only a few of these are up 1%. Most of these are. It's like Netflix is up here in the green. AMRN. Oh yeah, looks like it little bear flag pattern maybe have formed here on AMRN. Looks like we started dropping a little bit last week, had a bit of a minor bounce, and then looks like it's rolling over. But that, what is that, $15 level appears to be the line in the sand for AMRN, which it's undercutting. 16. That appears to be our line in the sand for AMRN, which it's undercutting. So I think everybody's waiting for a bounce in the market. So far, not seeing too much of that. Did you hold on to that Lilly short, Eli? Looks like that was working out pretty good. and try to swing BTC. What's GBTC up to? Speaking of markets, down here at $4 is GBTC. INSG. INSG living lower in that triangle we've been tracking for a couple of weeks now. Definitely not popping, and there the market goes cratering lower, essentially. Yeah, starting to break a little bit there. Breaking that trend line right now, that's not a good sign. We've already broken it here, so I'm not really super enthused on most of this. Let's go to the shorter term here on the Qs. Lauren, no, wheat stocks are not really mooning today. We got a mixed bag. We had MJ, which is the ETF, flat. Looks like a little lower, down 0.25%. Cron was up a little bit. Cron appears to be the leader in terms of price action. Tilray, which had the massive run, down about 0.5% today. So kind of a mixed bag in the MJ sector. ETF undercutting lows. Or EFT, excuse me, undercutting lows. Was nice and strong. Looks like it's just getting weaker. Elevated selling to the downside. Not impressed by that. Eli Lilly, kind of a similar situation. They're starting to sell some of the stronger stocks, it looks like. Let's see what happens there. What's at the bottom of our list today? Still NIO, Stitch Fix. Oh, NIO is dropping further, down about 9% so far. Stitch Fix, which got clobbered the other day, absolutely destroyed. Boom, huge drop. Continuing with that drop. AMED now, what's now up to? Mostly in Cron. Yeah, Cron appears to be the leader right now. So I think you're safe in that for at the moment. I mean, at the moment. No, we're not officially in a bear market. The market has to undercut the lows in the NASDAQ here to put us back into a correction, which looks like it wants to do that. It looks like it wants to move lower. It's not bouncing really that much. It's going to take a pretty aggressive reversal here, and I don't know what the impetus for that would be at this stage of the game, to be quite honest with you. I just don't know what that is. So see what Twitter's doing. Twitter pulling back a little bit. What's the volume like so far today? Pretty light. Hopefully we'll have a light volume day in Twitter. But yeah, if we get another like big leg down, this is bad. I'm not a big fan of this elevated volume kind of throughout this level. It is declining. It looks like it's declining. So let me, I guess, put that in context a little bit. Like Friday's volume was pretty light. We hadn't talked about that yet. But I thought that was interesting that Friday's volume was as light as it was. I guess they were trying not to tank the market or something, because they're definitely seeing continued selling this morning. There's no doubt about that. And so definitely continued selling. No bounces so far. what we're down 1.16% seems to be pretty normal action as of late. So, like I said, I think we have. You guys are leaving? Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. Yeah, it looks like so. Look at those three candles on the Qs accelerating price breadth in each one of them. Not super happy about. Not super happy about that. Excuse me. Netty is one we were looking at last week. Looks like down about 3%, undercutting back into that base level right there. Not super enthusiastic about that. Hi, James. James, Mommy and Ethan are leaving. If you run out, you'll catch them. Yeah. That's true, Eli. They do. They can use Mondays to fake out, and like I said, I think Friday's volume being very light is more encouraging. I think probably than less encouraging. But James, you're gonna stop. Okay, you're good. So if we have any kind of semblance of, I don't know, semblance of hope that we don't go into a bear market at this stage of the game, I think it's the fact of Friday light. Friday light volume is usually a good thing in terms of markets like this, but it doesn't mean we can't go lower by any stretch of the imagination. But that was one encouraging sign. The price action definitely not encouraging, but the fact that volume was actually much lower than the recent trend was half-ass encouraging, I'll say. All right, let's see what's going on. So greens are MJ's in the green, the last green actually. Greens are a little bit still pretty steady. They were a little bit bigger, but not much. Got a little green candle here. We'll see if we reverse. So green a little bigger, not that much. INSG, EEFT, INS, Lilly, VMW, and it's still pretty deep in the red. Let's see what Tesla's doing. Tesla's been holding up pretty good. Down today, but so far the volume pretty muted. Not really super concerned about Tesla and its action. A little bit of distribution, but it doesn't look like it's any shorts taking positions or anything massive. No kind of massive distributions. You can see since that quarter, most of that crazy volatility from the shorts has kind of abated. I think we're trying to look for accumulative signs in the market, and we definitely have distribution in the market. We're looking for some kind of accumulation signs. We have, like I said, we have it a little bit. There is large buying at the lows. So far, a majority of these bottoming candles have been accumulation. So that's good. The problem is so far there's been no follow through to those large candles. and we may get a little bit, may get another leg lower. We'll have to wait and see here. I think another leg would really scare so many people, that it just maybe we'll see an ultimate low on the next leg. We'll have to wait and see. We do have a channel that's been forming here. I know I have a lot of lines on my chart. Let me delete a few of them here. But I think so I think this one is important for the shorter term within this larger parallel channel, dropping a little lower there on the Qs right there. But yeah, I think that the breaking of this is pretty important, and that will definitely probably should lead us to a run down to these lows, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it definitely could. And that's not good. The saving grace is the volume on Friday, but if you look at all this volume, we were rising here, volume was declining the entire time, and then we're breaking that trend right now. So hello, Tadiq. What about Amazon? Amazon was lower today, down 3.5% as of right now. Earlier it was like 2%, 2.5%. Definitely looking lower. So here's the channel that it was in. Looks like it's broken that channel as of right now. And I'm not super enthused about pretty much any of that price action. Twitter's down 3.5% today. That's pretty aggressive to the downside for Twitter. Volume is muted. Hopefully we'll get a reprieval from the selling here at some point today. But see, we're not really like rushing lower, but I will say on the futures, look at the futures on Friday versus today so far on Monday. We're only about 20 minutes into the market session, and there was the overnight session too, so there's that to take into account on this chart. But you can see right there we're slightly elevated, so that could lead to like some type of accumulation or could lead to further distribution, depending on which way our momentum shifts us. So far we have three elevated selling candles in. Bless you. 3 elevated selling candles on the Qs. The fourth one not so much. So it looks like selling's abated a bit here for the moment. We'll see what the next leg, if the next leg's higher or lower. But so far, not seeing any major bullish signs whatsoever throughout the day today. Need a tissue, Bugs? Oh, okay. I thought you were good. Hold on a second. Okay, our fifth little candle here. We'll see what happens with it. I don't like the fact Twitter's breaking down. This has been holding up pretty good, but the volume's not very massive today. Only about 19. Oh, that was Friday. There we go. 2.6 out of 24 million. About 20 minutes into the session. Already making new lows there on the Qs. Definitely undercut that trend line right there. I may be looking to exit some of those positions. I'm actually going to exit some of my TQQQ position, I think, here a little bit. If it reverses, I'll get back in. I don't want to be out of pocket too much here. But if we're looking at it money to fall apart, then this is the day for it to happen. So all right, see, there's a little bit of buying. We saw that the other day. What was it? Which day was it? I think it was this day. It's like a Tuesday or Wednesday. We saw like a pretty nice 1-minute candle just put in. Was the low for the day at the time. It rolled over a little bit later in the day, a few hours later, then curled back higher. And I think that was this green day right here. Maybe it was a different day. But anyway, I put in the high for the day, which was good, which was kind of fun. I think it was this day. I think it was the 10th, about a week ago. Yeah, I think it was Monday. Rolled over, put in a nice 1-minute low on a eating volume candle, which is eating volume, and so that was fun. That was fun right there. But right now, the way a lot of these stocks are acting, At least it's not selling off. Solo's up 5. TZA's up 4. Cron's up 2.84. That's good. That's good. Holding up there. Definitely tons of volume on that day right there. That was the announcement of the investment of Philip Morris in Cron. CHK. Yeah, this thing just cannot get a break. This is just in a basically perpetual downtrend. Chesapeake Energy. Looking for it to turn around. Nothing doing there. GNC, Ruger. Apple's up positive still for some strange reason. But you see the greens on my chart, they were down here. They've been reduced. They've been reduced. There's another leg lower. Stock it was looking okay. It was Casa, not so much anymore. Yeah, definitely not looking that good anymore. EFT was living high in the hog here. Looks like it's completely filled that gap on this candle, but a quick retracement. Rejection of the 10-day. That was pretty brutal. And elevated volume on Friday, not such a good sign. A little bit of continuation today. Maybe it'll make its way back. I don't know. It doesn't look good, though. INSG, there's that triangle. Living lower in the triangle. We're seeing a little bit of buying down here. Each one of these candles has some buying before they drop it lower. There's still some accumulation in this market. It's still there. It's still there. There's a lot of bad news out there, and trust me, I get it. I was listening to some over the weekend, but there's still some accumulation here. It's still there. Like this candle right there, that's big accumulation. Everyone already forgot about it, but it was a huge reversal day. You have a high volume candle here at a bottom. It got bought back up. We had this day that big reversal. There's a bottom area down here somewhere. I don't know. I can't say when it's gonna print that final candle. If maybe that's it. I don't know. But that next high, and see, this is higher volume. This reversal candle is higher volume than this candle, and then we're meandering out of the range of that candle in terms of those lows, but there wasn't a ton of support there from that singular candle, but we also still haven't undercut this, which is good. So if we undercut this, I think it's going to be pretty dangerous. And that's the NASDAQ, and that is the 6445 level, somewhere around there. Don't know the exact print in terms of that, but that's kind of that area. That's the low that an IBD would put us back into a correction. Right now we're still uptrend under pressure until we break this point or have one or two more big distribution days. And we haven't had any distribution days because the volume hasn't been elevated over any session. You can see all going into back to that one large day, which I think was after the Monday after Thanksgiving. Because this was the day after Thanksgiving. Oh, that was 12/5. Oh, that was President Bush's funeral. That's what that was. Okay. Yeah, President Bush's funeral right there. And then, I think this was our last distribution day. Was the day before President Bush's funeral. And then this was a reversal day. This was the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We were thinking that maybe they would fake the market out and reverse it. But so far, that high has proven to be a bit of resistance. Rolling this lower, undercut this low today. We'll see if that's just a mini shakeout or if that's the trend of things to come. Lilly living lower here, 2.2%. What's at the bottom of our screen here? ZS. I forget what ZS is. NIO, TTD. Wow, TTD down 6.4%. Oh, that's a shame. That was looking pretty good. That's a shame. Looks like sitting at the 50-day right now. Emmys, Cyber, that's Etsy. Etsy looks like it started selling right there. Failure to go higher at 58 and change. Rolling over. What's the volume like on this candle? What do we got? A minute and change left. Come on. Yeah, almost 2 minutes left. That's a pretty good little candle right there. There's a little reversal candle. Volume isn't very elevated on the 5 minute though. Could be different on lower time frames. Nettie's down 3.5. EEFT already coming back. INSG coming back a little bit. Those two are leading. Let me just go top down on this thing and see what's what. We got Solo, Cron, CHK, TZA, SLCA, Generac, Hertz, Lumber Liquidators, SNCR, Ruger, AVGO. AVGO sitting right at that trend line. Looks like consolidating the past couple days. Very strong here today. Green Day up 1 point and change. Not bad. Look at that green volume on the upside. Definitely outperforming the market on many, many levels. This looks pretty freaking bullish to me, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to add an alert just above these highs on AVGO in case this thing wants to rip roar. Maybe the market will go with it. All right, looks like we're getting definitely a green candle there, kind of a market reversal here, so that's good. That's a good sign. Selling off a little bit. Let's go to the 1 minute and actually see what the reversal looks like. Okay, follow through right there. A little bit of green on the upside here. Not great though. You can see the volume just chopping around there. Let's see if that's as high as we get. Little bull flag here would be positive for daily action. No major buying, so we have that one buying candle right there. So if we go candle by candle here in the 1 minute, we've got a nice selling candle, the highest candle of the day so far in terms of volume and breadth, it looks like. You have some buying with a little bit of selling there. You know, one thing that I did want to do that I really haven't done, I wanted to put the stocks on with my volume aggregation tool. I was thinking about that, and I never really Spider Dow Jones. Where's the Okay, there's the Nasdaq. I need volume, so let's do NQ1. Okay, 15 minutes. So here's the 15-minute chart of the NQ1. You could see yesterday the volume aggregation tool was showing a tremendous amount of selling there. Let's go back here. NQ1 has taken some after hours Qs as well. So not used to doing this. Let's go to the daily first and kind of drill down a little bit. This is what we should have been doing earlier. Okay, so drill down from the daily. So daily we have the volume aggregation tool, definitely elevated selling right through here. We had some buying pressure as of there, and since then it's been all selling since that point right there. Even now the selling is bouncing in the buyers. Looks like they're expiring some of these prior candles on the VA tool. Let's go to the 2 hour. So 2 hour pretty elevated on the selling even since here. For those of you that haven't seen the VA tool, I don't know how many of you follow me on Real Crypto. Probably most of you, but VA tool is something that I developed with the help of Paul from the Slack chat room. He helped me kind of figure it out programming wise exactly what I wanted to do. Anywho, so some green right there on the 2 hour, turning to red, and then obviously a little bit of buying that didn't really go anywhere. Now we're definitely elevated red. The green is really flattened out here. Last time we saw that was here. in this session on the 2-hour. Hi, James. Volume, the green volume that low, and that actually we had a pop here in green volume that led to another leg lower. Yes, James.
Are you doing the power hour?
Yes, I am doing power hour.
Are you doing your power hour? Did you have to talk to people?
All my power hours I have to talk to people. Yes, sir.
Speaking about that.
All right, so it looks like we're rolling over. Well, at least it looks like it here. I believe this is 15-minute delayed data. This is live data. So there's the high. We went a little bit higher. Volume declining on this little mini sell-off. So that's a bullish sign, actually, that the volume's declining. So that's good. If we break this would be a little mini bull flag we talked about a little bit ago. AVGL looking pretty good. Look at that. Our greens have filled out a little bit better, which is much healthier. Let's go to the VA tool on the 15-minute, and yeah, definitely large. Yeah, see, this is disingenuous. Let me go to. Yeah, see, I don't know if that's going to be correct either, because this takes into account all these overnight session, which is minuscule volume, which leads to these exaggerated VA lines. I don't know how to rectify that, to be quite honest with you, but yeah. Anyway, so let's go to the 1 minute. So you can see the 1 minute there. The selling's declined actually. Selling stopped as of right there on the VA tool. Actually, 15. I have to remember about the delay. So I see the selling getting aggravated and the buying actually, or I'm sorry, selling dropping off, buying getting aggravated to the upside right there on the VA tool. So question is, can that sustain? That's the question that you got to ask yourself. Can that sustain? So I think a break up here would probably be a nice little symbol. Now again, can you swing trade this break of a 1 minute chart? Probably not, but at the same time, it's better than nothing. If you're looking for bullish signs, if you just think the market's going to fall apart, which it could. Again, going over those macro things we talked about earlier, China and the Fed are really our two impetuses for the market right now. Next Fed meeting, I believe, is tomorrow. December Fed meeting. Just give me a date, Google. December 18th to 19th. And so, yeah, tomorrow or the next day is going to give us either a shot in the arm, some adrenaline to the markets, because I think those are two of our biggest headwinds is the Fed and China. China has no resolution as of yet. In fact, it probably looks worse than what it did a little bit ago. But oh, there we go. So broke out there. See the volume getting more aggressive right there. Looks like that selling's already abated and the buying's coming back. And then we've already crossed that trend line. Don't really need a volume aggregation tool to tell you that. Oh, there you go. There you go. And that's all the volume we get out of that candle. Wow. That's pitiful. That is pitiful if that's all the volume we get. I'm on the 1 minute chart too. This isn't even like that's not very good. Are we going to continue though? I don't know. Not generally super enthused about most of this action. That should have been a much more aggressive volume candle, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, I got to run. Got to appease the 4-year-old and I got to get ready for Crypto Power Hour. looks like a bullish newsletter coming up for you guys joining me back over there. So I'm going to bounce, guys. So definitely, so far we're down about 1%. Yeah, definitely down about 1% today. We'll see how this day reacts. So far, nothing super horrible, which is good. I'll take a not super horrible over horrible. We have broken some recent resistance lines. We'll kind of see how that ends up throughout the day. A little bit of a bull trend right now, but the volume is already waning on the bull trend, so we'll see if this rolls over. So stay safe, guys. Respect those stops. Cash is a really good place to be if you're not already there. I won't be doing much position changing, to be honest with you. We're kind of in flux right now in terms of the market with the Fed meeting tomorrow. That's the next big news thing, and then as always, China. And we are a news-driven market at this stage of the game, so we're going to have to watch out for the news as well and see what kind of reaction those headlines give us. If we start ignoring the news, that's a good thing. If we start selling off and rallying with news articles, that's a bad thing. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me today. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.